Welcome to Australia. We have arrived in Perth, Western Australia. Just cycled 9,500 miles from Scotland to Japan on my cycle around the world, and we're now about to begin the Australia leg. 3,500 miles across Australia from Perth to Brisbane, and just look at this location, this environment for also a very, very important moment and milestone in my own life personally, because today I celebrate 1 year of sobriety, 365 days alcohol free, and this is it. This is literally the most defining, special moment in my life. Arriving in Australia by bicycle, cycle from Scotland to Japan, just on track to finish the cycle around the world this year. All the attempts I've had in the past, all the times that I've tried to stop drinking and never been able to do it, finishing the cycle this year, sobriety 1 year in the bank, and I just know now that that's me forever, sobriety for the rest of my life, because I just always knew since I tried to stop drinking and choose sobriety and live the sober, healthy, clean life that I wanted to live. I just knew if I could do 1 year, that would be it. Because if I can do 1 year, I can do 5 years. If I can do 5, I can do 10. If I can do 10, I can do 50. If I can do 50, I can do 100. So this is it. This is actually it. And forget cycling for a minute. Forget cycling. This is the proudest achievement in my life. This is the achievement that I'm fucking most proud of, because to anybody who knows me or knew me up until 2015, if you were to say to anybody before 2015 who knew me, anybody I grew up with, any of my mates, anybody from Livingston, anybody I went to school with, do you think Josh Quigley will ever be sober? Not a fucking chance. You got anybody saying aye to that question. I was literally the guy who lived for the weekend. I just fucking loved it. That is the truth. I just loved it. I loved drinking almost more than life. It was my life. I lived for the weekend. The pub, club, Ibiza, Newcastle, tea in the park. I couldn't get enough of it. That was just my life. I was that guy. And not just alcohol as well, drugs as well. Drugs were a massive part of it. Alcohol and drugs, they came hand in hand. And basically for the age of 16 to 22, that was my life. Drinking drugs every weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, pretty much. Religiously, consistently. And that's the life I thought I was going to live forever. I always thought that would just be my life. I always knew I was driven, always knew I was ambitious, always knew I would build businesses, be an entrepreneur, but I never ever thought that I would give up that lifestyle of, at the weekends, just getting mad with it and getting out my face, because I just loved it so much. But in 2015, I don't know really what happened to me, but the night I crashed my car, just something changed that night. Like I was not the same guy. The guy who crashed that car was not the same guy who woke up in the hospital. Just something happened to me that night. Spiritual awakening is probably the term that would closely describe it best. And for the next few months after that, I continued to drink and take drugs, but I wasn't the same. I just knew that I wasn't going to do that any longer. And then in September 2015, I thought, right, I'm going to actually try and stop drinking. And that was such a radical thought for me. Like to say I'm going to try and stop drinking was such a radical thought for me, because I'd never ever considered giving it up ever. As I said, I loved it so much. I loved it more than life. But I'd been seeing this girl who I was absolutely crazy for. Like, she was just amazing. And we were seeing each other for about 3 months in the summer of 2015, and then we kind of broke up, or whatever happened. We weren't out with each other, so you can't break up, but we stopped seeing each other basically. And I remember thinking, right, I need to sort myself out, because obviously alcohol played a part in it. I knew that, or my behaviour, my actions and alcohol, and I'd already lost a girl that meant the world to me for alcohol before, and that sent me into a really dark depression, which led to the suicide attempt. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not going back to that place. I need to try and be more in control at this time. And I thought I'll try and stop drinking for a bit. My plan was to try do 12 weeks originally in 2015. I managed to do 4 at first, which for me at that time, 4 weeks sober was like massive. And it was in that time where I had the idea for the Tartan Explorer, and I had the idea for cycling around the world, which is just so amazing to think that when I stopped drinking, that idea just miraculously appeared in my mind. And 2016 also started cycling around the world. Never really drunk that much that year. Done about 12 weeks sober at the start of the year. Just drunk a few times when I was with hosts in Europe, but not that much, to be honest. Came home at Christmas and started drinking again, and it was like the worst Christmas ever for me. I remember thinking, after cycling around the world, or cycling in Europe for that year, then coming home and I was like, I'm just done with this. So in 2017 I thought I'm going to try and do a whole year sober. In 2017 managed to do about 6 months and then started drinking again. So a really good 6 months, but I ended up slipping up again in the summer. Got to that point where I was like, the same as the end of 2016, where I was like, you know, I can't go back to this life. Decided to get back on the bike, go for sobriety again, done it, slipped up again after 3 months. And then 2018 I thought, right, year sober, let's go for it again, Josh. Managed to do 7 months this time, which was longer than I've ever done before. Eventually slipped up again, started drinking, got to that point again in 2018 where it was like, nah, I can't go back to this life. I know I didn't want to live this life anymore, I'm done with it. And that led to the 6th of October last year. I remember waking up in Livingston, hungover, been drinking again, wasn't on social media, wasn't doing speaking, obviously wasn't cycling at that point. And I thought, I'm done with it, I'm fucking done with it. Decided to partner up with 1 year no beer and sign up to take their 365-day alcohol-free challenge. Decided on that day, I'm just making a commitment, I'm doing a year sober this time, no matter what, no excuses, doesn't matter what fucking happens, I'm just no drinking in the next year, that's it. And I knew on the 6th of October last year, a year ago today, I just knew I would do it this time. Never knew what my life would look like, I never knew what I was going to do, I was a bit lost again, but I just made that decision. And then obviously this year, start of the year, got back on the bike, and the rest is fucking history. The rest is history. And obviously getting on that bike getting back on the bike this year is probably one of the greatest things I've ever done, because it led to where I am now. It led to this superhuman, happy, healthy, fit, confident, sober individual. Just learned 100% who I am. Like, I'm just a born athlete. I've just absolute crystal clear clarity in that. I was just born to be an athlete. Like, I'm a born athlete who got lost along the way. That is the absolute truth about me. And I was born to ride that bike. Not just that bike, I was born to race bikes. And this year for me, Cycling Around the World has provided all the clarity I need on who I am, what I'm going to do in my life. And next year I'm going to start racing, road racing. I'm going to turn pro. I'm going to start competing in Grand Tours, and within 5 years I will win the Tour de France, I will become world champion, and I'll win gold in Paris 24. I will then go on to have the single most dominant career in any athlete, in any sport in the history of mankind. I'm very clear in that as well. I'm not joking about that. This is the path, this is what I was born to do. And it all started with sobriety. And one thing that's just so amazing for me now, and that I need to never forget, is that sobriety for me now is fucking easy. It is a piece of piss. I don't have to think about it, I don't have to fight it. I literally spend zero time thinking about alcohol now. I've only thought about it recently because I knew this milestone was coming up, but I have no desire to drink, I have no temptation, I don't have to live one day at a time. In the last year since I've been sober, and in the last few years since I've not been drinking, I've been on nights out, been to weddings, parties. I even went on a pub crawl last year sober, had a fucking brilliant time, and I actually preferred it because I just felt like I was more in control of the night, and I was feeling confident and happy and assuring myself, and I was just having a great time. And I don't have to think about it anymore, I don't have to fight it, I don't need to live one day at a time. I just choose sobriety, and this is the important thing for me, is that this was never about giving up alcohol. I don't not drink because I can't drink and I'm powerless over it. It's not at all. I don't want to drink, and it provides no benefits to me. I'm an athlete, I like riding my bike, I like pushing myself, I like being the best I can be, and alcohol just plays no part in my life and my future. And I had to spend a lot of time, 4 years basically, trying to walk away from it because I was so conditioned in my mind. I just grew up in a culture that was dominated by it, in a country that was dominated by it. But I had the fucking balls and the courage to stand up and say, do you know what, I'm not going to live this life anymore, I'm going to follow a different path. And I had the courage to do that, and that's what I've done. But something that I also need to really remember is that although it takes no effort for me not to drink anymore and choose sobriety, sobriety is the absolute fucking foundation from which everything I have in my life exists. Without sobriety, there's no bike, there's no round the world, there's no athlete, there's no Tour de France, there's no fucking nothing, there's no health, there's no happiness, there's no confidence, there's no this guy right here. Although it takes no effort to do, it's still the most important thing that I need to follow in my life. And that's something I always need to remember. Sobriety is the path for me. Sobriety is what I choose. This was a positive choice to choose sobriety, not to give up alcohol. And for most of my life growing up, I decided to choose drugs and alcohol. But as I got older, I decided I was going to choose something else. I chose life. I chose fucking life.